Welcome back to the Human Gallery. Today, aliens come to erase one quit human colony. But this one was not weak, it was waiting.
The alien commander ordered the human colony erased at dawn. Not captured. Not warned. Erased. On the bridge of the Varen warship Talon of Vare, Commander Korr watched the small blue world below him turn beneath red targeting lines. Calder's Reach was only a farming colony, home to 40,000 humans, 3 water mines, and one old orbital station that looked too weak to stop a falling rock. Korr almost smiled. "Begin the countdown," he said. A red number appeared on the main screen. 10 minutes. His officers stood straighter. The Varen fleet had crossed the border without permission, but Korr did not care. The Galactic Accord would complain. Earth would protest. Humans might even threaten. That was the amusing part. Humans were new to the stars. Proud in council rooms, loud in speeches, but soft where strength mattered. Their ships were slow. Their weapons were ugly. Their colonies were spread too thin. And this colony was alone. "Open a channel to the surface," Korr ordered. A human woman appeared on the screen. She wore a dusty gray work jacket instead of a military uniform. Her hair was tied back. Her face looked tired, but her eyes were steady. "This is Administrator Maya Rane of Calder's Reach," she said. "Identify yourself." "I am Commander Korr of the Varen Dominion," he said. "Your colony sits on territory claimed by my people." "That claim was rejected 12 years ago." "Rejected by paper," Korr said. "Not by force." A few officers made low sounds of approval. Maya looked past the camera for a second, then back at him. "We have civilians here." "Yes," Korr replied. "That is why I am giving you 10 minutes." "For evacuation?" "For surrender." The countdown reached 9 minutes. Maya's expression did not break. "If we surrender, what happens to my people?" Korr leaned closer. "Your miners will work. Your engineers will serve. Your children will be relocated. Your flags will be removed. Your weapons will be collected." For the first time, Maya's face changed. Not fear. Something colder. "You're making a mistake," she said. Korr laughed once. "A mistake? You have one broken station, no defense fleet, and ground batteries so old our scanners barely call them weapons. Your nearest military ship is 6 hours away. Your response fleet is 2 days away. We watched you for months." Maya stared at him. Then she said, "You watched the wrong things." The bridge fell silent. Korr's eyes narrowed. "What did you say?" "I said you watched the wrong things." The countdown reached 8 minutes. Korr waited for panic to enter her voice. It did not. He had broken border colonies before. He knew fear. Leaders begged. They argued. They promised resources. They cried for mercy while pretending to negotiate. Maya Rane did none of that. She looked at him as if he had already stepped into a trap and simply had not heard it close. "Administrator," Korr said, "your calm does not impress me. It isn't meant to." Lieutenant Var turned from his station. "Commander, surface activity is increasing." "Military?" "No. Civilian systems. Agricultural domes opening. Water pressure changing. Mining crawlers moving into grid positions." Korr frowned. "Agricultural domes?" Var studied the screen. "They are routing heat through irrigation lines. Venting steam from processing plants. Moving civilian vehicles away from town centers." One officer laughed. "They are panicking." Maya heard him through the channel. "No," she said quietly. "We're preparing." Korr cut the channel. Her face vanished. "Scan the orbital station," he ordered. The screen shifted to the old ring-shaped platform above Calder's Reach. Its hull was patched in several places. Its cargo arms were crooked. Its power signature was low. No shield worth naming. No visible missile ports. No energy cannon. Designation Reachpoint Station, Var reported. Civilian transfer station. Mostly cargo storage and repair. Crew, 312. Threat level, minimal. Korr stood. "Target it first. I want the colony watching when it falls." Outside the flagship, 12 Varen attack ships spread above the planet like black knives. Against them, Reachpoint Station drifted in silence. On that station's bridge, Captain Elias Ward watched the enemy formation and took one final sip of cold coffee. He was 62 years old, with a bad knee, a scar under one eye, and the calm face of a man who had already met fear many times and found it boring. A young technician looked up from her console. "Captain, they're targeting us." Ward nodded. "I can see that. They fire in 7 minutes. I can see that too." "Sir, should we send the final alert?" Ward looked at Calder's reach below. His daughter lived down there. His grandson too. So did 40,000 people who trusted this ugly old station to keep the sky above them safe. "No," he said. "Send green alert." The technician froze. "Green, sir?" Ward placed his empty cup beside his chair. "Green." For 1 second, nobody moved. Then the bridge came alive. Across Calder's reach, soft 3-tone alerts sounded in schools, clinics, mines, kitchens, and farm domes. Green alert. No one screamed. Parents picked up children. Teachers sealed classroom doors. Miners closed blast shutters. Farmers left open fields. Doctors moved patients into reinforced wards. They had practiced this for years. They had hated practicing it. Now nobody asked why. On the Varen flagship, Var's voice tightened. "Commander, the colony's thermal map is changing too cleanly." Korr turned. "Meaning?" "It is organized." The main screen showed red lines spreading beneath fields, around towns, through dry riverbeds and old mining roads. Korr stared at the pattern. "What is that?" "Infrastructure," Var said. "Then ignore it. Infrastructure does not shoot." At that moment, Maya Rane's face returned on the main screen. Korr snapped toward communications. "I cut that channel." The officer looked shaken. She bypassed the lock. Maya stood in the same control room, but now every light behind her was green. "You still have time to leave," she said. Korr's voice dropped. "You are in no position to threaten me." "I know," Maya said. "I'm not threatening you. I'm warning you." The countdown reached 5 minutes. Korr killed the channel again. "Prepare first strike." On Reachpoint Station, Captain Ward opened a sealed panel beside his command chair. Inside was not a glowing alien weapon or advanced control system. It was a simple red handle. Above it were 3 human words. "Last sky option." Ward placed his hand on it. "Status." Priya Sol, his weapons officer, answered calmly. "Rail spine 1 through 6 are awake. Cargo arms locked. Ground grid linked. Civilian shelters at 92% and climbing. Do not fire until my order." Priya looked back. "If they hit us first, we may lose spine 3. Then we fire 5. And if they crack the ring?" Ward smiled without humor. "Then we make the debris useful." The countdown reached 3 minutes. On the Varen flagship, Var suddenly went pale. "Commander, the station is rotating." Korr looked up. Reachpoint Station was turning. Slowly at first, then smoother. Its old cargo arms aligned toward the Varen fleet. Satha, Korr's second officer, scoffed. "Cargo equipment." Var did not agree. "Those arms are hollow. Reinforced. Magnetic lining inside." The bridge went quiet. Korr stared. A civilian station did not hide spinal weapons inside cargo arms. A farming colony did not turn water systems into recoil sinks. An old orbital ring did not become dangerous just because a human touched a handle. "Run a weapons scan," Korr snapped. "We are," Var said. "No energy buildup." "Then it is not a weapon." Maya's voice returned one final time, forcing itself onto every Varen ship. Her face appeared across the fleet. Korr stood rigid. Maya looked directly at him. "You attacked the wrong colony," she said.
Now the aliens start to panic.
The countdown reached 0. The first human shot did not look like a shot. No beam crossed space. No bright missile trail opened between the station and the Varen fleet. No warning flare appeared on the Dominion scanners. Reachpoint Station simply shuddered. One of its old cargo arms kicked backward with brutal force. and something invisible tore through the dark. A second later, the Varen destroyer Black Talon split open from nose to engine. For half a heartbeat, nobody on Commander Korr's bridge understood what they had seen. The destroyer's shields were still glowing. Its energy barrier had never failed. Its plasma defense grid had not even activated. Then the ship broke in two. Both halves drifted apart, spilling air, fire, and bodies into space. Lieutenant Var whispered, "Direct hull penetration." Korr stared at the screen. "That is impossible." Another cargo arm on Reachpoint station fired. This time, the Varen cruiser beside the flagship twisted sideways as if struck by a giant hammer. Its forward cannon collapsed inward. The energy core behind it ruptured, and a golden flash burst through the ship's own armor. The bridge alarm screamed. "Return fire!" Korr roared. The fleet answered at once. 11 ships fired downward. Golden plasma beams stabbed toward Reachpoint Station, bright enough to paint the planet below in false sunrise. On the station bridge, Captain Ward watched the beams coming. "Brace!" The first strike hit the outer ring. Reachpoint shook so hard that 2 crew members were thrown from their seats. Lights burst overhead. A pipe tore loose near the ceiling and sprayed steam across the command deck. Somewhere deep inside the station, metal screamed. "Ring Section 4 is open to vacuum," someone shouted. "Seal it," Ward said. "Spine 3 is gone." Ward did not blink. "Then we fire 5. Priya's soul pulled herself back to her console, blood running from her eyebrow. "Rail spines 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6 ready." Ward gripped the red handle. "Target their engines. Not their cores." Priya looked at him. "Captain, we can kill them."
Humans can kill fast, but they stay calm first.
"I know," Ward said. "Disable first. Kill only if they make us." Priya turned back. "Yes, sir." Reachpoint fired again. 5 kinetic rounds crossed space without light, without heat, without mercy. 3 missed by narrow margins as the Varen ships tried to scatter. 2 did not. 1 tore through the engine block of a frigate and left it spinning dead above the planet. The other punched straight through a shield projector, ripped through 6 decks, and exited the other side before the ship's computers understood damage had happened. On Calder's reach, every shelter trembled as plasma impacts struck the upper atmosphere and scattered fire across the sky. Children cried under school floors. Parents held them close. Miners sat in blast rooms with their helmets still on. Doctors kept their hands steady over patients while dust fell from the ceiling. Maya Rane stood in the colony command room and listened to every damage report. "Station casualties?" she asked. "Unknown," her assistant said. "They're still fighting." Maya swallowed once. "Ground grid. Ready for Phase 2. She looked at the planet map. The Varen ships were spreading, trying to escape the station's firing angles. That was smart. It was also what the humans needed them to do. "Wait," she said. Her assistant looked at her. "Administrator?" "Not yet." Above them, Korr slammed one fist against his command rail. "Destroy that station." Satha turned sharply. "Commander, we have already lost 2 ships and 1 disabled. Their weapon has no charge signature. Our shields are not stopping it." "Then move." "We are moving." "Move faster." Var's voice cut through the shouting. "Commander, the colony's ground systems are tracking us." Korr spun toward him. "With what?" "I do not know. There is no active radar. No military targeting signal. But our evasive routes are being anticipated." The main screen displayed the planet below. Heat lines shifted beneath the surface. Mining crawlers locked into new positions. Water systems pulsed in rhythm. Weather towers tilted by tiny degrees. Korr's skin went cold. They are using civilian infrastructure as a targeting grid. Satha stared. "That is insane." "No," Var said quietly. "It is efficient." The word hung on the bridge like an insult. Korr had called humans primitive. He had called their colonies weak. He had watched months of scans and seen nothing but farms, pipes, roads, mines, and an aging station. Now every harmless thing on that world was pointing at him. "Jam them," Korr ordered. Var worked fast. Jamming active. Nothing changed. Their systems are not linked through normal combat channels, Var said. Some are hardwired. Some are pressure-based. Some are using timed mechanical relays. Korr stared at him. Mechanical? Yes, Commander. Satha gave a bitter sound. They built a war machine out of plumbing.
They laughed at farms. Bad move. Korr still has no
Maya
idea
Rane's voice returned to the fleet again. This time, she sounded tired. Commander Korr, you have lost enough people. Pull back. Korr's teeth clenched. You hide behind civilians and call yourself honorable? Maya's eyes hardened. You came to burn civilians from orbit. Korr said nothing. You thought farms were soft targets, Maya continued. You thought old stations were junk. You thought human silence meant human weakness. The ground map behind her turned from green to amber. You were wrong 3 times. Korr cut the channel. Target the colony command center. Var turned slowly. Commander, that is a civilian structure. It is controlling the grid. It is inside a populated district. Korr stepped close to him. Then the humans should not have placed it there. Var hesitated. That hesitation lasted only 1 second, but Korr saw it. Fire, Korr said. The flagship's lower cannon rotated toward the surface. On Calder's reach, alarms changed pitch. Maya's assistant went pale. They're targeting us. Maya looked at the incoming line. How long? 30 seconds. For the first time, fear touched the room. A technician dropped a tool. Someone whispered a prayer. Another person said a name under his breath. Maya looked at them all. Then she opened a local channel. This is Maya. Command is targeted. Continue the plan if we go dark. Her assistant grabbed her arm. You need to get to shelter. Maya shook her head. If I run now, everyone watching runs too. Maya. She took his hand gently off her sleeve. Keep the grid alive. Above the planet, Captain Ward saw the targeting shift. His face changed. Priya. I see it. Can we stop the shot? Not with the station. Ward looked at the planet map. His jaw tightened. Ground grid, you're up. Maya heard the message through her earpiece. She exhaled. Phase 2, she said. Across Calder's reach, the farms answered. Long rows of agricultural domes snapped open. Not to release crops. Not to vent heat. To uncover buried launch rails. Mining roads split down the middle. Water towers dropped their outer shells. Cargo trucks parked along empty roads unfolded steel frames from beneath their beds. From the sky, they looked like scattered junk. From the ground, they were one weapon. 100 small kinetic interceptors launched at once. They were not missiles in the Varen sense. They had no glowing engines. No smart guidance signal. No active warhead. They were dense metal darts thrown upward by rail and pressure, corrected by old math, local gravity, and years of practice. The flagship fired. Its plasma beams screamed toward the colony command center. Halfway down, the human interceptors met it. Not by blocking the energy. By striking the firing stream's focusing particles at the exact moment they formed. The golden beams scattered across the upper atmosphere in a violent fan of light. Fire washed over empty fields instead of the city. Windows cracked. Trees burned. But the command center stood. On the Varen bridge, every officer went silent. Var stared at his screen. They deflected the shot. Korr could barely speak. With ground equipment? Var looked at the data again, as if a second reading might become less humiliating. Yes. Maya Rane reappeared on the screen. Dust covered one side of her face. The command room behind her was shaking, but still alive. Her voice was low. That was your last warning.
Korr still has no idea what is coming.
Korr looked at the broken ships around him. At the old station still firing. At the farming colony that had just slapped his flagship's main cannon out of the sky. Then a new alarm sounded. Not from the planet. From behind the Varen fleet. Var turned to his console, and all color drained from his face. Commander! Korr's patience snapped. What now? Var slowly lifted his eyes. 3 human ships just dropped out of silent drift behind us. Korr stared at the rear display as 3 dark shapes appeared between his fleet and open space. They were not 6 hours away. They had never been 6 hours away. They had been waiting with engines cold, hidden in the shadow of Calder's outer moon. On the open channel, a new human voice spoke. Military. This is Captain Reyes of the Earth defense vessel Iron Wake. The 3 ships powered on. Their hulls lit like sleeping predators opening their eyes. You are inside human protective space, Reyes said. Power down your weapons. Korr's bridge went dead quiet. Reyes paused. Or learn what the colony was holding back.
Humans' warships were here the whole time.
Korr looked at the broken ships around him. At the old station still firing. At the farming colony that had just slapped his flagship's main cannon out of the sky. Then a new alarm sounded. Not from the planet. From behind the Varen fleet. Var turned to his console, and all color drained from his face. Commander! Korr's patience snapped. What now? Var slowly lifted his eyes. 3 human ships just dropped out of silent drift behind us. Korr stared at the rear display as 3 dark shapes appeared between his fleet and open space. They were not 6 hours away. They had never been 6 hours away. They had been waiting with engines cold, hidden in the shadow of Calder's outer moon. On the open channel, a new human voice spoke. Military. This is Captain Reyes of the Earth defense vessel Iron Wake. The 3 ships powered on. Their hulls lit like sleeping predators opening their eyes. You are inside human protective space, Reyes said. Power down your weapons. Korr's bridge went dead quiet. Reyes paused. Or learn what the colony was holding back.
Reyes is breaking their fear now.
The Varen flagship opened a full fleet channel. Korr's voice carried to every surviving Dominion vessel. Human tricks do not change Dominion strength. Fire on my command. We will destroy the warships, break the station, and burn the colony grid until their civilians crawl out begging. The words traveled across the fleet. They also traveled to Calder's Reach. In the shelters, humans heard them. Parents covered children's ears too late. Miners lowered their heads. Doctors stopped moving for one breath. Teachers looked at the locked doors and silently counted the students behind them. Maya closed her eyes. Korr had just done what Reyes needed. He had made the choice public. Captain Reyes opened a system-wide channel. His voice was calm, but every human on Calder's Reach heard the steel beneath it. To all Varen ships. Your commander has declared intent to attack civilians after being offered withdrawal. Under Earth Defensive Charter 7, command responsibility now extends to any vessel that follows that order. Setha looked sharply at Korr. Var went still. Reyes continued. Power down and move away from the flagship. You will not be fired upon. Korr snarled. Coward language. But across the Varen fleet, small movements began. One damaged frigate cut its weapon charge. Then another. Then a support ship rotated slightly away from the firing line. Korr saw it happen. Hold formation, he roared. Setha turned toward the weapons pit. Transmit loyalty lock to all ships. Var looked up. Commander, that protocol is for mutiny conditions. This is mutiny. No, Var said, voice barely above a whisper. This is fear. Korr struck him across the face. Var fell hard against his console. The bridge went silent. Korr pointed at Setha. Fire the flagship cannon. Setha hesitated only a moment. Then she gave the order. The Talon of Vare fired at Iron Wake. The golden beam crossed space like a spear. Iron Wake did not dodge. Instead, 6 small objects drifted out from its hull, cold and dark until the last instant. They snapped into the beam path and burst into clouds of reflective dust and metal fragments. The plasma stream scattered, weakened, and struck Iron Wake's forward armor as a wide burning wash instead of a focused lance. The human ship shook. Armor burned. But it held. Reyes did not move. Now, he said. Calder's Reach answered from below. The hidden ground grid fired again, but not upward at the ships. It fired sideways across the upper atmosphere. Hundreds of kinetic darts skipped along carefully calculated paths, using the planet's curve, magnetic poles, and old mining rails to bend their attack angles in ways no Varen combat computer had predicted. At the same time, Reachpoint Station fired its remaining rail spines. Iron Wake and the two human ships launched their own rounds. No single shot was spectacular. Together, they were a cage. The first wave destroyed the flagship's forward cannon. The second shattered its shield emitters. The third punched through its engine control fins and left the massive ship drifting, alive but crippled. Around it, Varen ships that had powered down were untouched. Ships that remained locked to Korr's command were struck with brutal precision. Weapons disabled. Engines broken. Targeting arrays torn away. Not one human shot wasted itself on decoration. Not one blast came for beauty. This was not rage. This was work. Korr was thrown from his feet as the flagship's bridge dropped into emergency darkness. Red lights flickered. Smoke poured from a cracked panel. Somewhere behind him, an officer screamed and then stopped. Satha pulled herself up. "We have lost forward weapons." Var, bleeding from the mouth, forced himself back to his station. Engines are offline. Shields collapsing. 3 decks open to vacuum. Korr rose slowly. "Order ramming speed." Var looked at him in disbelief. "We have no engines." "Auxiliary thrusters." "They will not reach the planet." Then toward Iron Wake. Satha stared at him. "Commander, there are 12,000 Varen crew aboard." Korr's eyes were wild now. "Then they will die with honor." Var looked at the broken fleet around them. He looked at the ships that had powered down and survived. He looked at the human colony still standing below. Then he did something Korr had never imagined. He opened the command channel. "This is Lieutenant Var to all remaining Varen vessels. Disregard Commander Korr's final order. Power down. Repeat, power down." Korr turned slowly. For one terrible second, nobody breathed. Then Satha stepped between them. "Korr," she said, "it is over." He stared at her as if she had become a stranger. "You would surrender to humans?" Satha looked at the screen, where Iron Wake waited in silence and Calder's reach glowed beneath it. "No," she said. "I would survive the lesson."
Even his own crew gave up on him.
Captain Raya's voice returned. "Varen flagship, your weapons are disabled. Your engines are dead. Your fleet is no longer following you." Korr said nothing. Reyes continued, colder now. "You came here to erase a colony because you thought humans were alone." On Reachpoint Station, Captain Ward leaned back in his damaged chair. Maya Rane stood in her cracked command room with dust on her face. Across Calder's reach, humans waited in shelters, listening. Reyes finished the sentence for all of them. "You have now met the neighborhood." Commander Korr stood in the ruined bridge of his flagship and watched his fleet surrender one ship at a time. Engines cooled. Cannons powered down. Shield grids folded into safe mode. Across the tactical screen, red enemy markers became gray, not destroyed, not victorious, simply unwilling to die for his pride. Korr's claws trembled. Not from fear. From humiliation. A farming colony had survived him. An old station had crippled him. 3 human ships had trapped him. And now his own fleet was listening to a human captain instead of him. "This is not over," Korr said. Satha looked at him with tired eyes. "It is over because we are alive." Korr turned on her. "Alive without honor." Var wiped blood from his mouth and answered before Satha could. "Honor did not bring us here, Commander. Arrogance did." Korr moved toward him. Satha raised her sidearm. The bridge froze. Korr stared at the weapon pointed at his chest. Slowly, his rage changed into something uglier. Disbelief. "You would threaten your commander?" "I would stop a murderer from killing 12,000 of our own," Satha said. For a long moment, only alarm spoke. Then Captain Reyes appeared on the main screen. His face was calm, but his voice carried the weight of every human shelter below. "Varen flagship, transfer command control to your second officer. Medical teams will be allowed to assist your wounded once your ship is secure." Korr laughed bitterly. "Mercy now." Reyes did not smile. "Discipline." That single word struck harder than an insult. Korr had expected hate. He had expected revenge. He had expected humans to finish what he had started and call it justice. Instead, Reyes stood there offering medical aid to the people who had come to burn human children from orbit. It made the defeat worse, because it made humans look stronger. Setha lowered her weapon only after Var locked Korr out of the command system. The screen changed. Dominion Command Authority transferred to Acting Commander Setha. She faced Reyes. Our weapons are down. Our engines are disabled. We request emergency medical passage. Granted, Reyes said. Any attempt to rearm will end that permission. Understood. On Calder's reach, Maya Rane closed her eyes when the surrender signal came through. The room around her did not cheer at first. Everyone was too tired, too shaken, too aware of how close death had come. Then somewhere in the back, a young technician began to cry. Not loudly, just enough that the room remembered it was allowed to breathe. Tomas sat down against the wall, laughing once with no joy in it. "We're alive," he said. Maya looked at the cracked ceiling, the dust in the light, the broken screens, the map still glowing with green lines beneath every town. "Yes," she whispered. "We are." Above the planet, Reachpoint station turned slowly, damaged but still holding orbit. Whole sections were sealed behind emergency bulkheads. Fires burned in 2 cargo rings. Medical teams dragged wounded crew through smoke-filled corridors. Captain Ward refused to leave the bridge. Priya Soul leaned on her console, one side of her face dark with blood. "Captain, Iron Wake is requesting station status." Ward looked around at the sparks, the broken panels, the exhausted faces of his crew. "Tell them Reachpoint is ugly, angry, and still here." Priya smiled despite herself. "Yes, sir." Ward looked down at Calder's reach. The planet had never looked more beautiful. Thin trails of smoke rose from empty fields where the deflected plasma had scattered. Burn marks crossed the land like scars, but the cities were standing. His grandson was down there, still breathing. Ward's hand rested near the red handle. He did not touch it now. "Power down last sky," he said. For the first time since the alert began, the station let go of its hidden war posture. Rail spines cooled. Cargo arms unlocked. Ground links went quiet. Across the colony, buried systems returned to being roads, pipes, farms, water towers, and mining rails. Harmless again. Or at least, harmless looking. Captain Reyes brought Iron Wake closer to the crippled flagship, but he did not board it with soldiers first. He sent rescue craft. Human rescue craft. Small white medical shuttles moved between damaged Varan ships, docking with airlocks that had tried to kill them less than an hour earlier. Human medics crossed into Dominion corridors carrying oxygen, sealant foam, blood packs, and stretchers. Some Varan crew recoiled when they saw them. One wounded officer raised a shaking hand, expecting a weapon. The human medic only pushed it down gently. "Save your strength," she said. "You're not dying today." The officer stared at her. "Why?" The medic sealed the wound in his side before answering. "Because we're not you."
This is why humans are different.
Those words spread faster than the battle report. On Calder's reach, shelter doors opened one by one. Children stepped into daylight holding their parents' hands. Farmers stared at burned fields and then at the sky. Miners came out still wearing helmets. Doctors rolled patients back toward clinics. Teachers counted students twice, then a third time, because fear made numbers feel untrustworthy. Nobody celebrated loudly. Not yet. They looked up at the broken station and the human ships above it, and they understood something they had always known but rarely said aloud. Human defense was not built because humans loved war. It was built because humans loved places that could be lost. Maya walked outside the command center just as the first ash began to fall like gray snow. The air smelled of burned grass and hot metal. Civilians gathered in the street, silent, looking toward her for some answer big enough to hold what had happened. She had none. So she gave them the truth. "They came to erase us," she said, voice rough through the colony speakers. "They failed." A murmur passed through the crowd. "They believed we were weak because we were farmers, miners, teachers, engineers, parents, and children. They believed peace meant we had forgotten how to fight. She looked up at Reachpoint Station. We did not forget. We simply chose peace first. This time, people did cheer. Not like soldiers after victory. Like survivors hearing their own heartbeat return. Hours later, Commander Korr was brought under guard to Iron Wake's main observation bay. His wrists were bound. His uniform was torn. The arrogance in his face had not fully died, but it had lost its throne. Captain Reyes waited by the window. Below them, Calder's Reach turned slowly, wounded but alive. Korr looked at it and said nothing. Reyes stood beside him. You wanted them to surrender in 10 minutes. Korr's jaw tightened. Reyes continued. Do you know why they didn't? Because they had hidden weapons, Korr said. No. Korr looked at him. Reyes pointed down at the planet. Because every person down there knew someone else was standing their post. Captain Ward held the station. Maya held command. Parents held children. Miners held doors. Farmers held fire lines. My ships held shadow. Nobody was alone. Korr looked away. Reyes' voice hardened. You saw a colony and counted targets. We saw a home and counted responsibilities. For once, Korr had no answer. The final message went out to the Galactic Accord the next morning. It was not long. It listed the violation, the civilian attack order, the surrender, the casualties, and the rescue operations. It did not boast. It did not threaten. It did not reveal every hidden system on Calder's Reach. But one line was repeated across every Accord network by evening. Earth colonies are not undefended because their weapons are invisible. They are defended because humans refuse to let home mean helpless. On Reachpoint Station, Captain Ward finally slept in a medical chair with a bandage over one arm and his cold coffee still untouched beside him. On the surface, Maya Rane stood in a burned field as the first repair crews began work. And far above, Iron Wake kept watch. Quiet, patient, human. Because the galaxy had learned the lesson Calder's Reach had paid for in fire. Never mistake a peaceful human world for an unguarded one.